All right. We're here today, and it's just me. Chris and Anthony are both off. And so I have no one to tell dad jokes to, which is super unfortunate for, I'm sure, all our listeners. But here we are. And I am going to be leading our session today with just our guests. So we're going to have a great conversation. So, what is your software stack costing you? Shocking stat, 73 of companies report losing 20 plus hours per week to manual data entry between disconnected systems. That's from Forrester in 2023. When Plaid's Zach Perret discovered this integration nightmare firsthand, he realized most founders were solving the wrong problem. The real challenge isn't choosing tools, it's making them work together seamlessly. Today on How to Founder, we're going to talk about software selection, integration, and AI. I'm your host, Stephanie Hayes, and with me today is my guest, Drake Wolfe. He's a self made tech founder who went from aging out of foster care to building a fully automated AI empire. He's the founder of Agentix and Elysium Labs, scaling 30 plus faceless software brands with zero employees and no outside funding. His automation first model is redefining what's possible for underdog entrepreneurs. Drake, so good to have you here. Let's dive in. You have deep expertise and have had quite a bit of success within the AI space. So why don't you tell us just a little bit more about kind of where you came from? What I'm particularly interested in is, your business model and what you created around this problem of people um, having a hard time with their tech stack inside of small business.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the introduction, Stephanie. So a while back when I started my journey in tech, I had an aha moment and I actually created a framework called the Auto Generative Agentic Ecosystem. And then I wrote a 400-page book about it called The Final Business Model. And in that, I detail exactly why I believe that AI is going to fully replace and automate business structures. And tying that directly to our topic today and software integrations, I think it's important to understand the foundations of how you should go about in 2025 figuring out what you need as far as software is concerned, why you need it, and how to integrate it appropriately and make sure that there are AI solutions tied to those integrations.
Yeah, so you I see this all the time, and coming from this world on the corporate side, you always end up with these organizations that have like 500 different, bits and pieces that are trying to do sort of best of breed features and functionality, and then all these manual processes in between to try and stitch them together. So I think a lot of the platforms that have emerged leveraging AI and LLMs and all of that is they are intended to be that sort of go between where we're thinking differently about the things that would have been manually before. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so AI automation is everywhere, right? It's definitely something that's being talked about. There's a lot of buzzwords being thrown around here, but the importance of it is very significant in this day and age. What we're going to be seeing over the next few years is a mass race to the finish line, corporate wise, as far as integrating automations are concerned. And where people get it wrong is what you just said. It's, hey, I need 20 different AI softwares that stack on top of each other that may have overlapping features or functionalities. And in reality, that's not at all what you need. What you need to do is stop using softwares right now, go back to the starting point, figure out what your foundation is and how would you do something like that. So how you would do that would be to assess your company structure as a whole at the very beginning. So we would start and go, okay, what could I automate? What is monotonous? What behaviors do I take every single day, or do my employees do every single day that's wasting their time, energy, resources? And then can AI do that? Right. So you're essentially taking a cost inventory associated with these tasks. And from that, you then make an educated decision on, okay, if I can have AI handle 90% of bookkeeping or, 100% of invoicing, whatever that may be, um, from there, start to niche down what your options are. whether it be just a straight software or if it's hiring a third-party AI integrations company to come in and actually look over your entire business structure, that's the place really that you need to start, and it needs to be based on the foundation of AI automation.
So here's my take on this because this has been my world for 25 years. Um, Business owners don't necessarily have the ability to say, well, I want AI to do this and I want AI to do that. And especially when you start to get in like into departments within an organization that when it gets a bit bigger that are like, well, I have my needs and you have your needs and that's really they cannot tell where AI can play a role, where any technology can play a role. They need help. That's why
Mm,
I worked for a software selection company at some point in time, and that's why they hire in help. But then the issue that starts to happen is like if you hire in a technology focused consultant, you end up getting a technology focused solution, whereas
mm,
really what we need is a solution that fits the right way for that particular organization. So how like there's these interesting models. In fact, I was just playing one with one last night that are starting to pop up everywhere that are like, hey, don't worry about understanding what AI can do or not do. Just tell me what you need. Right.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
it's my job to go and, this tool that I was working with last night, you just basically set it up with all of your integrations. So here's my Google Drive and here's my Instagram account and here's my Notion access and all these different things that you can, set it up with. And then it's just kind of sitting there waiting for you to tell it what to do, right? In plain language. So are we getting to that place where, AI is not just sitting there as an integration tool, it's also facilitating the conversation.
absolutely. Stephanie, you nailed it. I was actually gonna bring that particular type of software up. So, what we spoke about earlier was finding out where you need to integrate AI. And now there are softwares that are run by AI that find out where you need to integrate AI. So really what we're doing is we're stacking layers of AI integration on top of each other and making your life easier in every aspect of the word. Natural language in particular right now in the no code and low code space with softwares like Flow and Bolt and Replit allow you to just speak into the ether and create softwares and create workflows and things of that
Yeah.
nature. So we're absolutely seeing that. We're seeing it at an advanced level.
So, like I said, I come from an integration background. I sat on the Microsoft Partner Advisory Council for a number of years for the integration space with BizTalk and all the big tools that were out at that time. And and integration was always a layer that required like we built a business that was like the primary biz talk. This is going back. Biz talk, I don't even know if you know what biz talk is, but biz talk was Microsoft's integration engine.
Mhm.
And that expertise was so niche and so specific on the technical side. And what I think we're seeing right now and why people talk about AI as just like one big amorphous blob, but there's AI is more a concept. It's more about like not large language like learning models and all the stuff that goes behind that. I'm trying not to get too technical here, but um what's interesting now is that the layering of AI can go out, an AI tool can go out and create those integrations for you and do the orchestration that we used to have to code, but also that layer of the natural language processing is now what's making it so accessible. So
Yeah.
I don't have to know what's capable of within the technology. I just need to know what I want. And then this new sort of breed of tools that are coming out and the one I was playing with last night is like they're like, "Hey," and they've made it very accessible. It's like these cute little robot guys and they each have been built and trained to be experts in certain specific tasks. This is what you're seeing come out now is like these virtual teams of these expert agents, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. What those are called, technically for people that are watching is called agentic ecosystems. That's what I wrote my book about actually. And what we're going to see is agentic ecosystems are going to take over the entire industry. Um, Almost all of the big leaders that are important to watch in AI are saying this, that the next evolution is the agentic ecosystem structure, and
Yeah.
that integrating, 10 plus agents, essentially replacing an entire department of humans to focus. Now, I don't mean replace as in take your job. I mean replace as in make your life easier. Let's be clear here. Uh, make your life easier as an employee and make you more valuable to the company because the time that you're spending on things is time that's actually bringing in, actual capital and revenue for the company and not the monotonous behaviors that come with your job. So 100% agentic ecosystems is where it's at. And then to speak briefly to the integration side of things, the natural language absolutely has changed everything. It's changed the landscape of software as a whole and access to software as a general public. And really now, instead of being an industry expert or an area expert, all you need to do is have 2 things, an idea, and you need to know where to put that idea. That's it. As long as you have an idea and you know the website or the software to put that idea in, you can pretty much create anything you want digitally as of right now in August of 2025, and I can't wait to see what happens over the next 12, 24 months in this space.
So let's go back to that because we could nerd out on what's behind all this stuff for probably an hour, but let's go back to what's relevant for founders right now, and what they're trying to figure out is like, how do I get on this train? Because these guys come forward and they say, I think I need to use AI,
Mm,
but they don't know what that means and they don't know how it fits into their own organization. So where's the place that they start? Like, what's the best place for them to start? Not to sit down in an evening like I just did and hack away at some new tool.
yeah.
What's the right way to sort of figure out the how I bridge these real business problems that I have with a technology back end that's going to serve me and grow with me?
Yeah, thank you. The very best way right now is not to actually engage AI first, it's to engage an expert human. So,
Yeah.
in this case, what I would suggest is they find a local AI automation agency, shameless plug in Nashville, I have Agentics. Um, Same thing where business owners, the first thing you should do is reach out to an industry expert. They will come in, they all have free consultations, and they will come in and either meet with you physically or over video, really digest all the information about your company that includes pain points, your current structures, where you see yourself in the next 1, 3, 5 years, just as a business consultant would come in, but it's a tech side AI expert. So I would say that's the very best place to start is just look up an AI automation agency. They're called AAAs. They're very prevalent nowadays. And these people usually know what they're doing. Make sure that you choose one that's highly rated. But yeah, they work directly with small, medium, and large size businesses to help integrate AI and find out what is most advantageous for your growth and success. That's where I
Yeah.
would start. And then from there, you can engage other tools.
So what like this concept of integration debt, right? And what we talk about technical debt, but integration debt is another piece of that where we end up with all of these sort of lost processes and lost data and like time wasters inside the organization. How do I know when I've gotten to that point and how do I get out of it?
That's a great question. Um, well, you'll start to see it immediately. You'll have employees looking for things that aren't available anymore, and one's in a drive that's on your own private server, and another's in the cloud. You'll start to notice it very quickly because there will be physical frustration in the workplace. But in order to avoid that and not get to that point, what you really need to do in this case is make sure that whatever you are integrating into, make sure you ask all of the questions first. Like, hey, here's every software I have. So when you're coming to a meeting with an automation expert, whether it's a tech stack expert, whoever it is that you hire, what you need to do is come with a full list of your technologies that you currently utilize so that they can tell you right off the bat, hey, this isn't going to integrate with the things that I'm actually going to tell you is most likely what you need to use. And so what they can help you do is migrate to a service or software that actually, attaches or speaks the actual language, technologically speaking, to the software you currently use. Um, as far as integrations are concerned, I mean, millions of softwares speak to millions of other softwares. You can find that matching puzzle piece. The issue is you need to make sure that you give all of the information to the expert in order for them to make the right decision in this case.
So here's what normally happens is that we've got, HR over here that says, I need these features and I need these things. And you don't understand my processes, but it's really important that I have these very specific things. And then you've got procurement over here that says, well, I need these other things. And so I need a very specific piece of software. And then we end up with like it's very rare that an organization just from the beginning says, okay, we're just going to have an organization level strategy for our technology decisions. No, we're in startup phase. We're founders and we're scrappy and we're like, oh, we have an immediate need for this one thing. And that's why I end up with this big patchwork of these different tools. Um, what happens then? Like my HR department is not going to want to move off of the piece of technology that they have created, and yet and it's very specific to that industry. So there's not a lot of like integrations that are naturally and natively coming out of that tool. So this is what we end up. This is why a lot of these organizations end up with these little patchworks, right?
Yeah.
So how do we move from there to in our experience, we used to build enterprise services buses,
Mhm.
right? Which is a big traffic cop in the middle of a financial services organization, and it's going, okay, loan origination system over here, you've got these things that happen in your system and you've got this other thing that happens in this other system, and I'm just here to say, okay, when this thing happens, I know what my business rules are, and then that data goes over here.
Yeah.
So what's the model like that for a small business?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, cost definitely has a huge factor on this, especially if you're a solopreneur or something like that. You might be working for yourself or maybe have 1 or 2 1099 contractors. You're trying to find some software, maybe some AI software to lighten the load on you. You already have this piece of tech, um, and you don't wanna integrate something else, or you need to integrate something else, but you don't know if they speak to each other. In that particular instance, your best bet is to do exactly what you said earlier, even though it sucks, is to step back and implement policies and go, okay, from the jump, from the very beginning, before this thing gets any bigger, we're gonna put procedures in place to make sure that when we're selecting our technology, that it is cohesive in all of the different departments. So that, hey, if marketing wants this and HR wants this, well, why don't we find a general tool that can do both, right? And they have those out there. Or if HR wants this and it's extremely specific, well, then let's look at the integration list that HR has from that software, and maybe we can decide based on that integration list what software we purchase for a different department to make sure that they are speaking together. Now, there is a way around this. Now, as a founder, if you're not technologically savvy, as of right now, there isn't any plug and play API places that you could go that connect one to another essentially for you. We're still in the phase in 2025 where you're gonna need to hire an expert. Now, luckily, these experts aren't super expensive. You can get experts that can connect 2 softwares with custom API integrations. And that's where you can go, "Hey, you know, if this software allows custom API integrations and they don't have one for this one, but they both allow custom API integrations, you could build one for yourself for a few thousand bucks. Now you have, $10,000 software over here, $10,000 software over here. Instead of upgrading to the $50,000 software, you spent $2,000 on a custom API, and now they speak to each other on your back end specifically for you.
But that's still a technology-driven solution, and I would argue that before we even get there, I mean, that would be sort of my last choice, but before we get there, I would argue that when you're in your early phases of your business, you still don't really know how your business is going to function, right? Like you're trying things out. I almost think that's too early for you to
Mhm.
go and build, custom interfaces and do a whole bunch of like wrangling. There are so many pieces of software out there that are going to serve the basic. If you're getting to a point, either you're running a very specific, like
Yeah.
technically focused product company that needs a very specific thing, or you're inventing requirements that you may not need, right? Over engineering what you think you need. So, what's the right point in like in the life cycle of one of these smaller organizations that you actually want to start thinking about whether you need something more customized, because I would argue you'd have to be far down the road before you can really prove that all of these processes are, truly entrenched now, that they make a lot of sense for your business. Like, this is why I don't go straight to a technical consultant, right? I would first look at organizational design. I would look at, processes. I would look at, requirements first, and be able to, like, I had a customer who was, they just, like, there was no governance over what they could go and do. And so they had one part of the organization that was running requirements for, like, a project management tool. And they were into the like hundreds of thousands of dollars and
Mm.
all this customization, because they were basically running through a list of, like, what are all the requirements for they didn't need any of them. But there was no one sitting there saying, hold on a second, there's a better solution for you, right?
Yeah,
And that's not a technical consultant. That's somebody who's going to help them really understand how their business needs to function first.
right.
So where's that line? Like, when do you, because I don't want to build a custom API that I'm going to have to maintain, and then my systems have to do something with it, unless I desperately need that, right?
Yes, absolutely, no, I agree, the solution that I suggested is definitely when you're further down the road. That's generally the size companies that I'm working with, in the sh kind of going from the small business to mid-size business range. So what I mean by that is, if you are building custom API integrations, you're at that level, you already have a team of people. To kinda speak to the solopreneur just starting out, honestly, your best bet right now, and it's kinda cliche, but your best bet is to go into ChatGPT or Claude and create a custom GPT advisor that is free. Specifically feed it information with a master prompt that says, "Hey, this is what my business is. You're an expert in this field. I need you to advise me for free, right, on how I need to move forward in this process and procedure, whether it's just big picture, 10,000-foot level, or diving into the nitty-gritty as far as cost is concerned." Now, if we're talking about, um, just understanding what you need, like we said, we need to go real high level, big picture, and look at our business, and even just go old school and write it down. Just go, "Hey, here's the departments that I think I'm gonna need in my business based on the service or product that I'm offering, and based on those departments, I'm gonna be handling all those myself as a solopreneur right now. What could I automate that's gonna save me time, energy, and money, and which is what my business model is built on, and what could I, outsource that I can actually afford via either a software, whether it's a service like a consultant or something of that nature." And I would say your very best bet is to start doing that, overarching research first. And then once you dial in, okay, I need bookkeeping software, I need project management software, I need all these things, then start inputting into that AI agent, right? Whatever that Chat GPT, custom GPT you created, or just talking to Chat GPT 5, whatever you choose to do, input the fact that you need these things for these reasons, and it will start to suggest to you the lowest cost, the most accessible, and the easiest to use softwares on the market. And really, I mean, if we're just talking ease of access, that is the fastest way to do these things other than hiring a tech company.
I will push back on that for just a second, because I think that unless you are super familiar with what, these tools are, like, this is where I think the gap is that people can get, pulled into this, "Oh, I need a CRM." No, you
Yeah,
you onboard like 2 people a month. You don't need a CRM, right? Like, you don't not at this point in time, because it's gonna take you a long time to implement, and then you're gonna have something that you won't use and blah, blah, blah. So I think there's still, like, this pragmatism that needs to be inserted in between, where someone's asking a question saying, "Okay, yeah, you could go and get this big piece of software, but it doesn't make sense for your business right now." And so if all I'm doing is saying, "Hey, I've decided I want project management and I want a CRM and I want all this stuff. Tell me what." Yeah, for sure, you can get those answers. What's available to you, and that's a great little use of a GPT or something like that. But who's asking that question? And and pushing back on owners and saying, maybe you don't need this kind of infrastructure yet because
Yeah.
you still don't have the processes, you still don't have the need for it.
Yeah, I love that. And the truth in this matter is, um, I think that the best way to do this is master prompting. So what you just spoke to, yes, I agree with you. I do think that there is a huge gap in between, and how we create the bridge between that gap is people taking an hour of their day to learn master prompting. And essentially, what master prompting is, for anybody that doesn't know, it's learning how to prompt an AI properly. So in this case, what she said, what you mentioned was being able to give it the context it needs to say, "Hey, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't even know what I need. Like, I have no idea where to start. I need you to assess my current situation, my current structure of my company, and where I'm gonna go, and let me know truthfully, frugally, right? You need to enter these things in, right? I don't have a lot of money. I might not have a lot of time, whatever it is that applies directly to your business. And this is considered a master prompt. So this is getting ultra specific to your certain situation. And when you curate that master prompt, by doing that, you actually ask ChatGPT, create me a master prompt that focuses on frugality, that focuses on, whether or not I need these softwares right now or if I can do it on my own. You essentially speak through natural language to this thing, and it will come up with a master prompt that you can then use to create either a custom GPT or just feed that prompt back to itself. And it's going to answer from a generalist perspective down to a niche expert perspective. That's what these LLMs are really good at right now, especially GPT-5. So being able to really dive into your specific needs and really knowing how to prompt things, just like you said with natural language input in software, it's really hard to get a high quality result out of something if you aren't speaking in a high quality language to the
Mm.
AI and the text. So um, there's gonna be a level of education, self-education, where you do have to spend some time master prompting. There's thousands of hours of YouTube videos on this from experts as well.
So do you think, I mean, we like, let's go back to a bit more of an existential question. So do you think that every employee should have, as a base skill set, an understanding of how to write prompts and how to ask the right questions inside of GPT? I mean, we come back to this bigger existential question around, like, is AI going to steal all my jobs? And I have an answer for that too. But um, what's the base level of expertise or education that you would put all of your employees through, as as just a standard across the board?
Oh, I love that. We were just talking about this the other day. Yeah, there needs to be a standardized AI training that's inputted into onboarding, and so integrated into onboarding. Now, really, most people are like, "Well, I need to be an AI expert in order to do that," right? That's not the case. You can actually have AI write a training program for you. So just utilizing AI to train AI, same thing. But yes, every organization, I believe, moving forward, and I've believed this since it came out, you need to start training your employees now, either, you know, at the very beginning onboarding, preferably understanding that, hey, we're an AI friendly company. We need you to understand at least the basics of how to prompt AI tools, no matter whether that's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever you're utilizing, or specified softwares. If there's agentic systems and AI systems built inside of these softwares, you're gonna be able to speak to them natural language wise most of the time, and you're gonna need to know how to talk to them. It's called tech talk. And you're gonna need to understand how they operate and how they need to understand you. So yes, absolutely, we need to integrate, um, AI fundamentals in onboarding.
All right. Coming from a nerd to a nerd, we could probably talk about this for hours, but we're gonna hop into the speed round. You ready? You emotionally ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Deep breaths. Okay. Quick answers, gut reaction, don't think too hard. First question: choose expensive, best in class tools to impress clients or affordable tools that actually integrate?
Affordable tools.
Build custom integrations to maintain control or use pre built connectors to save time?
Pre-built first and later integrate larger ones.
Standardize on one vendor for simplicity or mix vendors for best features?
Always mix vendors for best features because one vendor might leave you.
Automate workflows now to gain efficiency or optimize processes first to avoid bad automation?
Optimize processes first.
Train team on complex integrations to build expertise or keep integrations simple to reduce dependencies?
First one first are the integrations simplified first, and then train them on the more complex ones and bring them in.
All right, awesome. Okay, we have some deep dive resources. The Phoenix Project by Gene Kim, Building Microservices by Sam Newman, and then Drake, you have a book as well. Do you want to just plug that one?
Yeah, that's the final business model. We deep dive into how I believe auto-generative agentic ecosystems are going to plug directly into businesses now and in the future, and how you're going to be able to work alongside AI agents to fully automate your business.
Awesome. We'll put that in the notes. So awesome discussion today. Obviously, we could go on forever, but we have to cut it off at some point in time. Good talking to you. You've obviously done some pretty amazing things already in your life. Where can people learn more about you? Where do you want them to go and check out your work?
Yeah, thank you for that. Very kind words. So you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm always on there. You can reach out to me there. Also, Agentics AI automation agency at goagentics.com. My Elysium Labs company. We won't be doing any public work, but we are building private softwares. Right now, you can keep up with us at elysiumlabs.co. We're launching that here shortly. And then you can find my book at drakewolfbooks.com as well as Amazon. And yeah, that's pretty much how to contact me.
Awesome. Super appreciate you coming in, spending some time. Know everybody's, quite interested in this snowball we've got going running downhill, which is AI. But I'd love to talk more with you about how we define AI and what it actually is. But this is the start of the wave. So thank you all so much for listening. Really appreciate you being here. Please be sure to visit us at howtofounder.com. You can connect with us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify channels. And we believe you are the pioneer of economic prosperity. We are grateful for you being here and with us all along the way. And we will see you next episode. Oh, almost.